Jamil Lockhart. All right, Mr. Lockhart, have we had this discussion before?
Yeah, I'm here on behalf of the defendant, Jamil Lockhart, and you're making a special appearance.
All right, well, you gotta make your special appearance to the Wayne County Jail. I told you that the last time.
Yeah, so I filed a notice of removal for all of these cases because I don't believe that this court is capable of acting in an unbiased way. But I mean, there's been no response from the city, but to this point, I mean, just the last court date we had, perjury was committed. I mean, you guys put on the record that I failed to appear, and I spoke to you.
You did fail to show up to the Wayne County Jail. You were ordered to do 30 days in the Wayne County Jail. You haven't showed up. You still haven't showed up. So you're still disobeying. No, let's not do this. This is how it started the last time. You're still disobeying the court's order, and you have to do 30 days. You have to present yourself to the Wayne County Jail. You have a warrant out for your arrest. And before we go over this other stuff, you gotta go.
Right from the start, this is a textbook example of sovereign citizen antics. The man walks in insisting he's appearing on behalf of himself, which is a common tactic in that movement, but the judge isn't buying into any of it. You can sense the tension building quickly in the room, like everyone knows what's coming. What makes it even more intense is that this isn't their first time crossing paths. The judge seems fully aware of his long history of dodging court appearances, and that patience is wearing very thin. You can tell she's ready to finally put an end to the runaround.
To the Wayne County Jail, all right?
Yeah.
Okay, sir. So
I said what
I can increase the time if you can take compliant.
Your Honor, I apologize for interrupting the proceedings. May I have a breakout room with this litigant, please, and thank you.
I don't know if he wants to speak to a lawyer, but he can if he needs to. He has that right to do so. You want to speak to the lawyer?
You'd think that by now he'd realize the smart move would be to get a lawyer, especially with so much at stake. But instead, he doubles down and chooses to go it alone, which is where that familiar defiance really starts to show. This is the part where his refusal to follow the legal process becomes crystal clear. He's more focused on rejecting the system than actually helping himself, even though it's obvious that his approach is only making things worse. It's like he's trapped in a losing game he refuses to stop playing.
I think so, because he came in here talking about he's appearing on behalf of the person Jamil Lockhart. So I think he's on the same path as he was that got him into this situation.
And Your Honor, we've had that discussion at length in the breakout room. He understands what it would take to resolve his matters. He understands how he has to, and so I think he's in a position that he wants to resolve these matters. We've had the discussion. We asked for leniency and mercy from the court. I understand if the condition is that he still has to do 30 days in the Wayne County Jail, although we would ask if the court would reconsider that sentence now that he has taken the time to actually listen to advice of counsel and be made fully aware of how he should present himself in court. I know that it's his intention to resolve these matters without any further court appearances or draining any further resources or delaying the process anymore. And I know that the court doesn't want to delay the process any further. I understand his behavior is what put us in this position as of right now, but we're just hoping to resolve today if the court will allow.
At this point, the defense attorney steps in with a calm, measured approach, trying to salvage what's left. She paints her client as remorseful, someone who's finally ready to cooperate and take responsibility. You can tell she's doing her best to shift the tone and offer the court some reassurance. But the reality is, it's an uphill battle. Her words are sincere, but it's tough to erase the impact of months, or even years, of resistance and disregard for the law. One statement of regret can't fully reverse a long pattern of defiance, and everyone in the courtroom knows it.
And you still haven't showed up and it's been over a year, and now you want me to have some sympathy for you and to resolve the matters. I have no sympathy for you at all. I tried to discuss, we tried to give you a fair opportunity to be heard. You keep spewing these legal theories that I've never heard of before. And I've given you an opportunity at that date to speak with the lawyer. You refused that. You refused all the opportunities I've given. And you came in here another time a couple of months ago, and I told you we weren't going to hear it then. You got to go report to the Wayne County Jail. So you've had ample.
At this stage, the judge makes it crystal clear she's done with second chances. Her tone sharpens, and when she says, "I have no sympathy," it lands like a hammer. It's not just a statement, it's a final verdict on her patience, and honestly, it's hard to blame her. Imagine sitting on that bench, time after time, offering opportunities for someone to turn things around, only to be met with excuses and blatant disregard. Eventually, even the most composed judges draw the line, and that moment just arrived.
You'd have me go to jail.
No, on behalf of Jamil Lockhart, I do understand that, and I know the court may hear this often, but he does have a family that he supports. It would be a great hardship on his family, his resources, and his sense of economy in terms of his job if he would have to submit himself to 30 days in the Wayne County Jail. I understand that the court is not inclined to choose that.
I didn't just give him the 30 days on the, he should have thought about that when I was asking him. I let him speak when I was asking him to not try to overtalk the court. Let me give him an opportunity to speak. He continued to disobey that. He should have thought about that then. There's a whole lot of people up in the penitentiary that have families that they take care of, and he's not going to the penitentiary, it's just county jail.
Would this court consider amending it in such a way that he could only do weekends to complete his 30 days?
Yeah, but he hasn't even come to done anything. I'm not inclined to do anything for Mr. Jamir Lockhart or the person of Jamir Lockhart or whatever he wants to be called or however he wants to be described himself. Jamil Lockhart.
So yeah, he has the matters that are set on the docket for today.
The judge doesn't just deny the request for weekend jail, she shuts it down completely, without hesitation. You can hear the frustration in every word as she makes it clear there's no room left for flexibility or leniency in this case when she says, "I'm not inclined to do anything for Mr. J. Lockhart," or whatever name he's going by today. It's not just a rejection, it's a reflection of how tired the court is of the games. It may sound harsh, but in the world of courtroom justice, that kind of bluntness is sometimes necessary to re-establish order.
He has presented himself to the court today.
Okay, you want to take off? We'll take off the warrant. We'll give him a pre-trial date, and then he can go do his 30 days, and he can tell the sheriff in there that what his next court date is, and they can, or somebody can rid him out then. City of Detroit versus Jamil Amir Lockhart, case numbers SP 1247989, counts 1, 2, and 3. State of Michigan. Now the laws just don't apply to him. State of Michigan versus Jamil Amir Lockhart, case number SX 378-29611. Appearance for the record, please.
Sherika Harris, on behalf of Jamil Lockhart, sir, could you state the name of the person that you are representing on the record, please, or that you identify, please?
So my name is Jamil Lockhart.
For purposes of arraignment, Your Honor, my client would stand mute, but we would ask if the court could read the charges, please and thank you, so that Mr. Lockhart is aware of what he is charged with and the nature of the charges.
Let's also call SP 1218072, counts 1 and counts 2 into the record as well.
The SB 1218071, that's a license and proper, that's a maximum possible penalty is 93 days in jail and or $500 in fines. Count 2 of that is a no insurance misdemeanor, maximum possible penalty 93 days in jail and or $500 in fines. SP 1247989, counts 1, unregistered, untitled, maximum possible penalty 93 days in jail and or $500 in fines. SP.
This moment feels like the quiet before the inevitable storm, just the routine reading of charges, yet the tension is thick in the air. Even during this formal part of the hearing, Lockhart's legal team is still doing damage control, trying to present things in the best possible light. But despite their efforts, it's clear the court is running on fumes when it comes to patience. The judge listens, but you can sense the growing strain beneath the surface, like everyone's just waiting for the next shoe to drop. The calm tone can't hide the history that's built up behind this case.
You're hearing on behalf of the person, Jameer Lockhart, and then when he asked him to state his name, he came and he indicated that he was Jameer Lockhart now. So I don't know what he like I say.
I mean, if I could speak a little bit here. I don't know, Your Honor, I'm not a criminal. I just want to handle this, get this over with.
I didn't say you were a criminal, sir. I didn't listen. As it stands now, these are allegations. So until there's an adjudication of either guilt or not guilt, that'll determine, whether you're a criminal or not. So I don't know. You got these allegations out here. So I didn't make that comment. You were a criminal.
Right. No, I'm not saying that you did. I just want to handle this and, put this to rest. At this point, I feel like it's taken up too much of my time, too much of, your time, I'm sure. And,
this is what I do every day, sir. I serve the city residents of the city of Detroit and the state of Michigan and whoever comes in here. So it doesn't take up my time. This is what we do.
At last, we see a glimpse of real vulnerability from Lockhart. He quietly says, "I just want to move on." And for the first time, he drops the act. No more strange legal jargon or far-fetched theories. Just a man facing the real-world consequences of his choices. He's not talking about sovereignty or court tricks now. He's talking about being unable to rent a car or live normally without a license. It's a striking shift, and it feels genuine. But the big question hanging in the air is whether this moment of clarity can outweigh all the chaos he caused leading up to it, or if it's simply too late to turn things around.
Next pretrial date is September 22nd.
Yeah,
Well,
based on the statements.
That being said, I don't think, based on everything that has happened, our history, the claim in federal court that I have against you, Michigan judicial tenure, complaints that I have against you, I think you have a duty to recuse yourself from any of my cases.
I haven't been privy to any judicial tenure complaint. My first duty is a duty to sit, and I feel
did
that I
put it in your mailbox.
Okay, well, all right. Well, the Judicial Tenure Commission will have to come, and I'll have to respond to them accordingly if they present something to me. Have a great day, sir. Next court date, 9/22. You're still expected to turn yourself into the Wayne County Jail.
Well, Your Honor, I would ask one final argument. I understand that he may have indicated he did not want an attorney to represent him.
Attempting to get the judge to recuse himself over a federal complaint? That's a bold move, but it quickly falls flat. It feels more like a desperate tactic than a legitimate argument, and it doesn't get the reaction Lockhart might have hoped for. The judge stays calm, but his response is firm and decisive. There's no hesitation, no sign of being shaken. He makes it clear that this courtroom isn't the place for games or personal attacks. He's here to do his job, and nothing is going to derail that.
Your Honor, I only have a federal claim against you as a means to try to keep myself out of jail, right? It's not something that I want to do, you know?
You can take any action. You can take any action under the law that you choose to, sir. I haven't prevented you or even tried to even attempt to prevent you, and I can't prevent you from doing it.
I don't want to do that. I just want to handle this, pay whatever I need to pay, and move on.
So again, advocating on behalf of
needs to be sitting in jail. I'm an upstanding individual. A lot of people that depend on me, and I haven't harmed anyone, and I never would.
Understood. Thank you for that allocation. But on behalf of defense would now move to ask if the court would allow a hearing on the contempt proceedings.
That hearing has sailed. He has been gone. He has 30 days? No, we asked him, offered a hearing on that. We offered him an attorney on that before we entered into found him in contempt. We offered him to speak with a lawyer on that day. He chose not to. It's been over, I would say, quite frankly, a year at least. The motion, he mentioned he was going to file a motion by 5/27/2022. It's been a long time. Those ships have sailed.
But Your Honor, arguably he didn't have the assistance of counsel. So I would ask, did we go through all of the steps for him to waive his right to counsel in that type of proceeding?
Well, you can go back and look at the transcript. If he wants some representation now, he can either be a court-appointed a lawyer, or he can hire a lawyer on his own. People tell me I'm too lenient, and I'm a defense judge, and I try to be fair to everybody that comes through here. I gave Mr. Lockhart, and I'm giving Mr. Lockhart now, over a half hour when other people only get 5 minutes to speak. I gave him ample time today and back when he came in court the last time. And you say that he's changed, but he came into court today spewing the same stuff that he started out before he talked to you that he did when he was there. I read those motions that he filed, which was in the court's eyes had no basis in law whatsoever. I've never seen those legal theories that he's purporting. I don't know if you, well, let me strike that. I've seen those legal theories that he's purported, but I've never seen those in the rules of court rules. I've never seen that in any of the law books that I've ever read.
This is the turning point where the judge doesn't hold back. He lays out the full weight of the situation. He talks about every missed opportunity, every piece of advice that went ignored, and the countless hours the court has poured into trying to give Lockhart a fair shot. And then comes the statement that sums it all up. Other people get 5 minutes. I gave him 30. It's a simple line, but it carries so much meaning. It shows just how far the judge stretched to be fair, and how deeply that patience was taken for granted. You can feel the disappointment behind those words, and it hits harder than any sentence could.